Welcome to my podcast. Today I will be previewing the Metropolitan Division in the NHL. I will also be doing some predictions on the Metropolitan Division. Number one in the Metropolitan Division will be the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's ridiculous how much talent this Penguins team has. When you have Evgeny Malkin basically playing as your number three center, this means your team is really good. The defense isn't exactly eye-popping, but when you have offensive talent like the Penguins do, you don't need to have an eye-popping defense. You just need to have offensive defensemen that move the puck to your offensive players to do the work that they are capable of. As of right now, the Penguins are the team to beat in the NHL, as they are the defending Stanley Cup champions. Key arrivals, none, as they did not add any players because they didn't have much cap room. Although they did manage to re-sign Justin Schultz. Key departures, Ben Lovejoy and possibly Matt Cullen, because they haven't re-signed Matt Cullen yet. Strengths of this team are world-class talent offensively. They have two of the best centers in the game in Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby. They have good puck-moving defensemen in Chris Letang, Trevor Daley, and Justin Schultz. And they have good goaltending with Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury. The weakness of this team is the fourth-line center position. If Matt Cullen doesn't return, their fourth-line center may be kind of weak because they have Sundqvist as their fourth-line center right now. They have a lack of scoring at the left wing position, and they don't really have a shutdown defenseman. Key players for this Penguins team: Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Phil Kessel, Chris Letang. Both Marc-Andre Fleury and Murray are key players. Patrick Hornquist and Nick Bonino, as well as Carl Hagelin. The X factor for the Penguins is Connor Sheary. Second place in the Metropolitan Division will be the Washington Capitals. The Washington Capitals are arguably a better team than they were last season. And that is a scary part, considering that they were the best team in the NHL last season. The Capitals only lost one player on last year's roster, and that was Jason Chimera. But they added Lars Eller and Brett Connolly. Evgeny Kuznetsov and Nicholas Backstrom are going to be a tremendous 1-2 tandem down the middle. And Lars Eller gives them something they haven't had in a long time. A number three center that is capable of contributing offensively. If the Capitals do not win the Stanley Cup this year, there is going to be major changes next offseason in Washington. Key arrivals, Lars Eller and Brett Connolly. Key departures, Jason Chimera. The strengths of this team: world-class talent offensively. Goaltending, Braden Holtby. Top four defense is pretty good with Carl Alsner, Matt Niskanen, Dmitry Orlov, or Brooks Orpik in the top four, along with John Carlson. Depth and talent at center position with Evgeny Kuznetsov and Nicholas Backstrom. Weakness: the depth at left wing is a little lackluster. A lack of backup goalie, which forces Holtby to start 70 games. Key players for the Capitals: Alex Ovechkin, Braden Holtby, Evgeny Kuznetsov, Nicholas Backstrom, John Carlson, TJ Oshie, Marcus Johansson, and the X factor for the Capitals is Andre Burakovsky. Third place in the Metropolitan Division will be the New York Islanders. Despite losing 3 important players from their roster, the Islanders will be a treat in the Metropolitan Division, or will still be a threat in the Metropolitan Division, because of the prospects coming up and some key free agent signings. They lost Kyle Poso and Franz Nielsen in free agency, but replaced them by signing Andrew Ladd, and they also brought back P.A. Parenteau. The Islanders lost Matt Martin, but replaced him with Jason Chimera, which is actually an upgrade. It is actually quite rare when a team loses 2 key players on the team and can still be a very good team in a competitive division. This is a testament to the depth both on the roster and in the system. Key arrivals: Andrew Ladd, P.A. Parenteau, and Jason Chimera. And also the call-up of Matt Barzal. Key departures: Kyle Poso, Franz Nielsen, and Matt Martin. The strengths of the team are offensive and defensive depth, goaltending depth, and a superstar in John Tavares. Weakness: lack of a natural scorer on the wings, and a lack of a proven number 2 center. Key players: John Tavares, Andrew Ladd, Nick Leddy, Brock Nelson, Ryan Strome, Travis Hamnick, and the combination of Jarl Halak and Thomas Greiss. The X factor, I would say, is Matt Barzal, because if Matt Barzal can break through and have maybe a 40 to 50 point season, I would say that Islanders would do pretty good. But if not, they are going to be struggling. Fourth place, New Jersey Devils. The New Jersey Devils, without a doubt, are the most improved team in the Metropolitan Division. They acquired Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. They also signed Ben Lovejoy and Vernon Fiddler in free agency. The Devils' offense looks to be much improved this year, not only because of Taylor Hall, but they also added 2015 first-round picks Pavel Zacha and Bew Bennett, who they acquired in a trade with Pittsburgh. The Devils' offense, on the other hand, or defense, the defense, on the other hand, has some question marks. With the departure of Adam Larson, this leaves major voids on the blue line. David Severenson and Ben Lovejoy will be the candidates to replace Larson on the top pair. Steve Santini will also be a factor on the blue line for the Devils. Key arrivals: Taylor Hall, Bew Bennett, Ben Lovejoy, and Vernon Fiddler. Key departures: Adam Larson. Strengths of this team: goaltending in Corey Schneider, and they have good depth at the backup position with Keith Kincaid and possibly Scott Wedgwood. Offensive and defensive depth. Weakness: top defensive pair is a question mark with the departure of Larson. The right wingers are unproven with the exception of Palmieri. Key players: Corey Schneider, Taylor Hall, Adam Henrique, Kyle Palmieri, Mike Camilleri, Travis Zajac, Andy Green. The X factor for the Devils is David Severson. Fifth place in this division will be the Philadelphia Flyers. Once again, the Philadelphia Flyers are a team that will be lacking of depth in in their lineup. But for once, defense will not be their weakness because they have a lot of good young talent that is coming up in the system. Ivan Provorov is projected to play a big role on the team, and it is possible for another top defensive prospect like Sam Morin to make the team as well. The biggest problem, like I said before, for the Flyers last season was goal scoring, and they didn't really address the lack of depth scoring on the team. The Flyers have some top-end talent on offense, but they do lack depth offensively, like I said before. Key arrivals, Dale Weiss and Boyd Gordon. Key departures, Sam Gagner and RJ Umberger. Strengths, top-end offensive talent. The power play is great, and a superstar in Claude Giroux. Weakness, lack of skill and depth at left wing. Lack of scoring at center position behind Claude Giroux. Key players, Claude Giroux, Jacob Voracek, Wayne Simmons, Braden Shen, Shane Gostisbehere, and the combo of Steve Mason and Michael Neuvirth in goal. The X factor is Sean Couturier. Because if he can emerge as a two-way center that's capable of putting up 20 goals and 60 points, then the Flyers will be a much better team. Sixth place in the Metropolitan Division will be the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers are just not as good a team as they were last year. They have an aging top four defense, an aging Henrik Lundqvist, and many weaknesses on the team that needs to be addressed before the season begins. Jeff Gorton did everything he could to try to at least keep the team respectable. He traded Derek Brassard for Niko Zibanejad, which freed up some cap space and allowed them to re-sign Chris Kreider. After re-signing Chris Kreider, they re-signed JT Miller and Kevin Hayes. So Gorton did everything you could have asked for him to do realistically. But this doesn't take away from the fact that the New York Rangers are a worse team than last year. Key rivals, Mika Zibanejad, Josh George, Michael Grabner, Nick Colden, and Nick Gerby. Key departures, Derek Brassard, Keith Yandel, Dan Boyle, Eric Stahl, Dominic Moore, and Victor Stalber. Strengths, goaltending with Henrik Lundqvist in goal. The third line is a strength with JT Miller, Oscar Lindbergh, and Kevin Hayes. And the coaching is a strength with Alain Vigneault behind the bench. The weakness is the defensive depth, lack of offensive firepower, and they have a lackluster power play. Key players, Henrik Lundqvist, Derek Stefan, Chris Kreider, Matt Zuccarello, Rick Nash, Ryan McDonough, and JT Miller. The X factor is Mika Zibanejad, because if he can't elevate his game to the next level, the Rangers may just be able to stay competitive. Seventh, Columbus Blue Jackets. The Columbus Blue Jackets are a really tough team to figure out because there are so many question marks with this team. The biggest one is how will John Tortorella destroy the young talent that the Blue Jackets have playing there? The second question is, how are the lines going to look like? You just never know with Torts. Third is Bobrovsky going to be healthy this season? If Bob is healthy, the Blue Jackets are a good team. If not, they aren't. Key arrivals, Zach Werenski and Pierre-Luc Dubois. Key departures, Kirby Reichel. Strengths. If Bobrovsky is healthy, goaltending is a strength. The top four defense is a strength, and they have lots of depth forwards. Weakness. They lack talent and depth at the center position. Lack depth and scoring at right wing. And if Bobrovsky gets injured, they don't really have a good backup goalie. Key players: Brandon Saad, Boone Jenner, Seth Jones, Sergei Bobrovsky, Cam Atkinson, Brandon Dubinsky, and the X Factor is Nick Foligno. If Nick Foligno can replicate his previous season of 2014-15 season, then perhaps the Blue Jackets can have a good season. 8. And last place in the Metropolitan Division is the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes have some good young talent on the team, especially on defense, but they lack an elite player on the team playing in a division with many elite talents. Key arrivals: Taro Teravainen, Lee Stepniak, Ryan Bickle, Victor Stahlberg. Key departures: Nathan Gerby, Riley Nash. Strengths: young defense and young forwards have shown lots of promise, and the forward and defensive depth is pretty good. The weakness is no elite forwards, and goaltending is a big question mark, especially if Cam Ward is not able to stay healthy. Key players: Jordan Staal, Jeff Skinner, Victor Rask, Elias Lindholm, Justin Falk, and the combo of Ward and Lack. The X Factor is Noah Hanifin. Noah Hanifin is going to be a major part of the team moving forward. So that will about wrap it up for this Metropolitan Division preview. Before I wrap up, let me just go through the standings of the preview. First, I have the Pittsburgh Penguins. Second, I have the Washington Capitals. Third, I have the New York Islanders. Fourth, I have the New Jersey Devils. Fifth, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. Sixth, I have the New York Rangers. Seventh, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets. And last but not least, I have the Carolina Hurricanes. Next, I will be previewing the Atlantic Division,